cancel his rehab, save the money. Those words cut through the stillness of that hospital room as sharp and clear as a bell rung right beside my head. My wife Claudine sat there clutching my hand. A stranger glancing through the doorway would have seen a faithful wife keeping vigil over her wounded husband. Then she brought her face close to mine. All that money on therapy for a man who'll likely never come back to himself. What's the point? My chest seized up. Not the wound, the betrayal. Then a second voice joined in. Dylan, my 34-year-old stepson. A low chuckle. I'll take his mansion. I've always wanted to remodel it anyway. Claudine's laugh was soft, almost gentle. We'll wait until everything's official. I've already got plans for the place, Dylan said. The garage alone is worth more than most people's entire homes. Not one of them caught the tear that slid from the corner of my eye. They were certain I couldn't hear, certain I couldn't understand. Welcome back to True Revenge Stories. I'm glad you're here with me today. If these stories of struggle and quiet strength mean something to you, I'd be grateful if you subscribed and gave this one a like before we're done. Before we get started, drop a comment below with your gut feeling. Where do you think this story's headed? I'm always curious. What you sense coming. One quick note. Some moments in this story have been shaped for the telling, and any resemblance to specific people or events is purely coincidental. What matters most is the truth underneath it. Most importantly, they thought I couldn't remember. They were wrong. My name is Raymond Whitmore. I'm 62 years old, and until 3 days ago I believed I had built a life most people only dream about. I built neighborhoods across Tennessee, not luxury skyscrapers in Manhattan, not casinos in Las Vegas. Neighborhoods, places where teachers, firefighters, electricians, nurses, and retired couples could afford beautiful homes. For nearly 35 years, I was up before sunrise and home after dark. I wasn't born into money. My father drove a mail truck. My mother cleaned motel rooms outside Nashville. Everything I owned had been earned one brick at a time, including the 4-story brick mansion overlooking Percy Priest Lake. People often assumed I loved that house because of what it cost. The truth is, it reminded me how far my parents' sacrifices had carried me. Then 3 days ago, a pickup truck blew straight through a red light. I never saw it coming. The doctors told me afterward that my SUV rolled twice before slamming into a concrete barrier. Multiple fractures, internal injuries, a traumatic brain injury, a stroke during emergency surgery. When I finally opened my eyes, my body refused every command I gave it. I couldn't speak, couldn't raise my arms, couldn't even turn my head. The machines around my bed produced more noise than I was capable of, and somehow that silence became the greatest advantage of my life. Earlier that morning, I had heard Dr. Okonkwo speaking in low tones just outside my door. The swelling is improving, he told Claudine. Mr. Whitmore understands more than we originally believed. Will he recover? She asked. We don't know. He'll need months of aggressive rehabilitation, months. That single word carried hope to me. Apparently not to my wife. The doctor went on, It'll be difficult, but patients with determination sometimes surprise us. Claudine thanked him politely. She even cried. I heard every sniffle, every trembling breath, every flawless performance. The moment the doctor's footsteps faded down the hall, she turned into someone I no longer recognized. Silence settled back over the room. A minute passed. The door opened again. Light footsteps. Not Claudine, not Dylan Natalie, my private nurse. She'd been assigned because my doctors felt one-on-one care would improve my odds. She couldn't have been older than 35. Calm voice, kind eyes, the sort of nurse who narrated everything she was doing even when she assumed the patient couldn't respond. Good afternoon, Mr. Whitmore, she said quietly. I'm going to check your IV. She adjusted the tubing, checked the monitor, then paused. I know that look. Her voice fell lower. I think you're awake. I pushed every ounce of strength I had into opening my eyes wider. She leaned in. Can you understand me? I blinked once. Her eyebrows rose. Oh! She glanced toward the hallway, then back to me. If you understand me, blink twice. I did. Her hand went still over the blanket. My goodness. She barely breathed the words. They said you weren't responding. I blinked again. Tears filled her eyes. Don't worry. I won't say a word to anyone until we know exactly what you want. Exactly. What? I wanted. The words moved through my mind like something I'd forgotten existed. For the first time since the accident, someone was asking me, not talking over me, not mapping out my future without me, asking me. There was one problem. I couldn't speak, not even a whisper. Natalie seemed to sense my frustration. Can you move anything? Nothing. My fingers wouldn't cooperate. My legs had vanished from my awareness entirely. Only my eyes still answered me. Then an old memory surfaced. My younger sister Ruthie, born profoundly deaf. Our parents couldn't afford private schools, so the whole family learned American Sign Language alongside her. I learned too. I was only 10. For years, we held whole conversations across crowded rooms without uttering a sound. I hadn't used ASL with any regularity in decades, but muscle memory is a remarkable thing. I concentrated every bit of energy I could summon into my right hand. Nothing. Again, still nothing. Natalie caught the faintest twitch in my index finger. She leaned forward. Try again. The finger moved barely, but enough. Pain fired up through my arm. Slowly, painstakingly, my thumb shifted, then my index finger followed. Natalie watched without breathing. You, she whispered, you're trying to sign. Relief moved through me like a current. She understood. I let my eyes close from sheer exhaustion. When I opened them again, she was smiling. I know a little ASL. My younger brother is deaf. For the first time since waking up, hope edged out fear. It wasn't much, but it was enough. One labored movement at a time, I shaped the closest approximation I could manage to a single word. Lawyer, Natalie stared. You want your attorney? I blinked twice. She glanced toward the hallway. Does your family know you're communicating? One blink. No. Do you want them to know? One blink again. No. She nodded without hesitation. I understand. Not a trace of doubt in her voice. She wasn't judging me. She wasn't demanding an explanation. She simply accepted that I had my reasons. Then she said something that caught me off guard. I'll help you. That evening, Claudine came back carrying flowers. She kissed my forehead. I'm here, sweetheart. Her perfume turned my stomach. Dylan trailed in behind her, carrying a cup of tea. I spoke with the insurance company, he announced. They'll probably push back on some of the rehab costs. Claudine exhaled dramatically. We'll deal with that when the time comes. I wanted to laugh, not because anything was funny, but because neither of them had any idea the bridge had already given way beneath them. Natalie slipped in a few minutes later to check my medications. She never glanced in my direction, never let on that anything had shifted. She played her part without a single crack. Professional, composed, unremarkable, exactly what we needed. Eventually, Claudine reached for her purse. We'll be back tomorrow. Dylan nodded. Get some rest, Raymond. The door swung shut behind them. Natalie waited until their footsteps had gone quiet. Then she drew a small phone from her pocket. I found the emergency contact listed ahead of your wife. She looked at me. Warren Delacroix. I blinked twice. She smiled. I'm calling him. She stepped out into the hallway. Less than a minute later, a man's voice came through the speaker. This is Warren Delacroix. Natalie drew a slow breath. Mr. Delacroix? She looked back toward my room. Mr. Whitmore is awake, and he has something very important to tell you. I barely slept that night. Not because of the pain, the medication was keeping most of that at bay. It was my mind. Every time I shut my eyes, I heard Claudine's voice. Cancel his rehab. Save the money. Then Dylan's satisfied reply. I'll take his mansion. For years I'd lain awake worrying about my business, my finances, my health. It had never crossed my mind that the deepest wound would come from realizing the people seated at my bedside had already started making arrangements for my absence. And around 7 hours, the next morning, Natalie slipped quietly into my room, carrying a cup of tea for herself. Not for me. She smiled as though the world were perfectly ordinary. Good morning, Mr. Whitmore. She checked my blood pressure, straightened my blanket, then brought her face close enough that no one beyond the doorway could catch her words. Mr. Delacroix is on his way. 2 blinks. He'll be here before your wife arrives. Another blink. Natalie read every answer without making me wear myself out. In less than 12 hours, she had become my voice. That kind of trust doesn't come easily, but sometimes the worst moments of your life deliver exactly the person you need. At 8:15, an older man in a charcoal suit walked through my door carrying nothing but a worn leather satchel. Warren Delacroix, my attorney, my friend of 28 years. We'd built companies side by side, closed hundreds of property deals together. He'd helped me draft every version of my will since my first wife Pauline died of breast cancer nearly 15 years earlier. The instant he saw my eyes open, the tension left his shoulders. My God, he moved to the edge of my bed. I was preparing myself to say goodbye. I wanted to smile. Instead, I blinked. Natalie quietly drew the blinds. I've already described everything I witnessed yesterday, she told Warren. He understands everything. Warren nodded. But he can't speak. Natalie glanced toward me, not with words. She gently lifted my right hand. Mr. Whitmore, can you show him? I bore down with everything I had. The effort felt like trying to move a boulder with one fingertip. Slowly my thumb shifted, then my index finger. Pain lanced up through my arm again. Another movement. Warren's brow furrowed. Is he? Natalie smiled. American Sign Language. His eyes went wide. I completely forgot. He looked back at me. Ruthie. 2 blinks. He remembered my sister. Everyone who truly knew me remembered Ruthie. Claudine had never troubled herself to learn a single sign. She always said she'd never have a reason to. Life has a remarkable sense of irony. It took nearly 20 minutes for me to communicate one complete sentence. Natalie interpreted patiently. Warren wrote everything down. The first sentence I signed was simple. My wife wants me to die. Warren shook his head immediately. Raymond, that's a serious accusation. I kept going, painful movement by painful movement, Natalie translated. She told Dylan to cancel rehabilitation because it cost too much. A pause settled over the room. They discussed dividing your property. Warren's expression shifted gradually. The skepticism left his face. He knew me. I wasn't a man who acted on emotion. I wasn't reckless. If I was pointing a finger at somebody has cause, Natalie added quietly, I didn't hear any of it personally, but when I found Mr. Whitmore awake yesterday, he specifically asked for you before anyone else. Warren slowly removed his glasses. Tell me everything. For nearly an hour I signed, one grueling movement after another. Every word Claudine had whispered, every sentence Dylan had spoken, every detail I could dredge up. By the time I finished, Warren's notebook was full. He leaned back in his chair. I've represented wealthy families for over 30 years. I've seen children go after parents, brothers gut inheritances, business partners tear apart lifelong friendships. But this, he looked at me. This is different. He reached into his worn leather satchel. Before we do anything, we need to look at your estate. That single sentence reminded me why I'd brought Warren on decades ago. He never let emotion drive the car. He fixed things. He spread several documents across the small hospital table. His first question, did Claudine ever pressure you into transferring ownership of your companies? One blink. No. Did she become a shareholder? No. What about the Whitmore family trust? No. He smiled for the first time all morning. Good. Natalie looked puzzled. Warren explained in a low voice. Raymond had built everything before this marriage. The trust holds most of his major assets, the mansion, the development companies, the investment properties, the lakefront land. Claudine lives in those homes. She doesn't own them. Relief moved through me. Some earlier version of myself had kept his guard up. Warren pressed on. The joint checking account has enough money to tempt someone, but set against your total estate, a faint smile crossed his face. It's pocket change. Natalie looked taken aback. So legally she doesn't inherit everything. Warren chuckled. Not even close. Then his face turned serious. But there's another problem. He looked directly at me. If Claudine genuinely believes you're mentally incapacitated, she may try to pursue conservatorship. My pulse jumped. He continued. Once someone controls your medical decisions, they often gain enormous leverage over financial matters as well. Natalie crossed her arms. Can she do that? Not if Raymond is mentally competent. Warren tapped the notebook. And not if we move first. He began laying out legal options, emergency court filings, medical evaluations, temporary financial restrictions, protective orders. It all sounded reasonable. It all sounded fast, but something inside me pushed back. I slowly raised my hand. Natalie watched carefully. No. Warren frowned. No. I kept signing slowly through the pain. Need proof. He held my gaze. You already have your testimony. Again I signed. Not enough. He got it. If Claudine denied everything, it would be my word against hers. No jury, no family, no judge should be left to wonder who was telling the truth. I wanted certainty. I wanted the truth laid bare so completely that no one could ever reconstruct a different version of events. Warren leaned back, then smiled. I think I know exactly what you have in mind. Around 10:30, Claudine arrived carrying homemade lemon poppy seed muffins. She beamed at everyone in the room. Oh, Warren, I didn't realize you were here. He rose politely. Just checking in on an old friend. Claudine dabbed at an imaginary tear. It's just devastating. I don't know what I'd do without him. I watched from my hospital bed. If the Academy Awards had a category for grieving spouses, she'd have been a frontrunner. Dylan drifted in behind her, wearing sunglasses indoors. Morning. He barely glanced my way. Instead, he turned toward Warren. So how's all the legal stuff looking? Warren answered without skipping a beat. Nothing to report. Dylan shrugged. Guess we'll sit tight. Exactly. They'd wait because they still believed I was locked inside a broken body with nothing left to fight with. Natalie quietly adjusted my IV. As she moved away, our eyes crossed for less than a second. No smile, no signal, nothing a bystander would catch. But I knew the game had already started. That afternoon, after Claudine and Dylan headed out for lunch, Natalie came back holding my tablet. She'd linked it to my home's private security system. A notification blinked on the screen. Motion detected. Location Whitmore Residence Home Office. Natalie's face tightened. She looked at me, then slowly signed, Someone is pulling documents from your house. I held the screen in my eyes for a long moment. Then, despite the pain tearing through my arm, I signed 2 words. Natalie swallowed. You want me to let them... I blinked twice. She nodded slowly and repeated it aloud. Let them. Because sometimes the surest way to expose a thief is to let him believe nobody is watching. By the end of that first week, everyone believed I was exactly where they wanted me, broken silent, helpless. That illusion became my sharpest weapon. The doctor saw a patient grinding through slow recovery after a catastrophic accident. Claudine saw a husband who would never again question a credit card statement. Dylan saw an inheritance with a heartbeat. Only 3 people knew the real picture, Natalie, Warren, and me. The following Monday morning, Warren arrived carrying another worn leather satchel, and he looked almost cheerful doing it. I spent the weekend going through everything. He shut the door before saying another word. Raymond, you built your empire like a man who never left anything to chance. I blinked. He opened several folders. 23 LLCs, 4 holding companies, the Whitmore Family Trust, and 3 separate investment partnerships. Natalie looked impressed. I had no idea. Warren smiled. Most people don't. He turned to me. You always said one lawsuit shouldn't be able to bring down a lifetime of work. I remembered saying those exact words nearly 20 years earlier. At the time, they'd sounded overly cautious. Now they were keeping me alive. Claudine only has unrestricted access to the joint household account. He paused. Everything else requires your sign-off. 2 blinks. Good. Then his smile faded. But someone has already tried. He slid a document across the bedside table. Natalie picked it up. What is this A request to transfer corporate voting rights? She frowned. Who filed it? Warren answered evenly. A law firm, but not mine. He looked straight at me. They claimed your condition made you permanently incompetent. My heart knocked against my ribs. Natalie looked horrified. They've barely been at this a week. Warren nodded. Exactly. They're moving far faster than grieving families typically do. I lifted my hand one painful movement at a time. Who hired them? Warren exhaled. We're still pinning that down, but I have a strong suspicion. Neither of us had to say her name. That afternoon, Claudine walked into my room with fresh flowers, white tulips. My late wife Pauline had despised tulips. Claudine knew that. She'd simply forgotten. Or maybe she no longer cared enough to remember. She kissed my forehead. You look peaceful today. I stared at the ceiling. She pulled the chair close. I've been handling everything. The bills, the house, the business calls. I don't want any of this weighing on you. Her voice was warm, soothing, almost convincing. Then her phone buzzed. She stepped into the hallway. Natalie happened to be attending to my medication cart just outside. When Claudine disappeared around the corner, Natalie glanced back at me. I'll be right back. She followed not close enough to draw attention, just close enough. 5 minutes later, she returned. I heard enough. She brought her voice down low. She was on the phone with someone named Grant. She said. Natalie hesitated. The paperwork should be ready before he's discharged. A beat of silence. No, he doesn't understand anything. I closed my eyes, not from surprise, just because hearing it still stung. That evening, Warren brought someone new, a silver-haired woman in jeans boots and a navy blazer. This is Sandra Colville, licensed private investigator. Sandra smiled pleasantly. I've worked alongside Warren for years. She looked at me. Warren explained, I hired her yesterday. I don't believe in coincidences. Sandra opened a slim notebook. Your wife has developed a routine. Every morning, coffee shop, fitness, club, hospital. Every afternoon, a string of unexplained meetings downtown. Every evening, dinner with Dylan. She turned another page. Yesterday, they met with a luxury realtor. Natalie stiffened. A realtor? Sandra nodded. They toured your mansion. She slid several photographs across the table. Claudine stood on the front lawn laughing. Dylan pointed toward the detached garage. Another shot showed them moving through my home with a well-dressed couple. The realtor had blueprints under his arm. My stomach dropped. They weren't waiting around for me to die. They were already sketching out the renovations. Over the days that followed, Sandra's file kept growing. Dylan ordered custom furniture. Claudine met twice with a financial advisor she'd never used before. A moving company came by the mansion. The explanation given was future remodeling. Meanwhile, the only visitors I received were Natalie and Warren. Claudine trimmed her visits from an hour to 30 minutes, then 20. One afternoon, she stayed fewer than 8 minutes. On her way out, she kissed my forehead. I miss your smile. The door shut behind her. Natalie looked at me. Neither of us said a word. We didn't need to. There was one subject Claudine never once raised, my rehabilitation, because she was certain it wasn't happening. Officially, she was right. Unofficially, Natalie had made other arrangements entirely. Every evening, once visiting hours were over, she wheeled in a physical therapist named Curtis. Curtis had left the VA hospital system 2 years earlier. Natalie trusted him without reservation. So Curtis said with a grin at our first session, I hear you're stubborn? 2 blinks. Natalie laughed. That's his way of saying yes. The sessions were brutal. My fingers seized up. My shoulder burned. Every attempt to shift my left leg felt like dragging concrete uphill. More than once I wanted to stop. Curtis never allowed it. You built neighborhoods. I blinked. Then build this. What comes next is the moment I had to decide how to use what little I had left, and whether staying silent was the same as giving up. Before we get there, tell me this. If someone you loved was quietly working to bury you, would you confront them the moment you knew? Or would you wait and build your case in the dark? He pressed my arm. One muscle, one movement, one day. Part of me resented those words. Then the other part started believing them. 2 weeks went by. 3 fingers could now lift on command. My right arm was answering more reliably. I even coaxed out a lopsided grin one afternoon. Natalie reacted like I'd just cleared a world record. That's enormous. She laughed. You have no clue. But I did. Each small gain meant one thing above all else. Claudine's window was narrowing. Mine was opening. Sandra's work kept moving. She showed up one Friday night with a flash drive in hand. You're going to want to see what's on this? Warren connected it to a laptop. The screen filled with surveillance footage, a private dining room in a high-end steakhouse in Nashville captured from a hidden angle. No sound at first. Then it came through. Claudine raised her glass. Honestly, I thought he'd be gone that first night? Dylan laughed. Same? A third voice, the realtor, by the sound of it. And if he actually pulls through, Claudine waved it off, that won't happen. The doctor said rehab takes months. Dylan tilted back in his chair. And we're making sure that never happens. The room around my bed went dead quiet. Sandra crossed her arms. Copies are already secured. Warren stayed silent. So did Natalie. I kept my eyes on the screen. Every remaining doubt I'd harbored evaporated. Every attempt to explain it away collapsed. There was no gray area left. Not a misunderstanding, a deliberate, cold-blooded calculation. They had looked at my life and chosen greed without a flicker of hesitation. Sandra dipped back into her folder one more time. There's one more thing. She hit another button. A second clip began to play footage pulled from the hidden camera in my own home office. Claudine stood at my desk alone, or so she believed. A small smile crossed her face. Then she said the sentence that cut through everything else. The sooner he dies, she glanced toward Dylan, the sooner we're free. Not one person in that hospital room so much as shifted. Natalie went completely still. Warren shut the laptop in slow motion. A long pause. Then Raymond, I'd say we have everything we're ever going to need. I held Warren's gaze, then Natalie's, then lifted my shaking hand. One sign, one answer. Not yet, because a quiet victory meant nothing to me. I needed the truth dragged into the open where it couldn't be buried. 3 weeks past the accident, I quit tracking time by the calendar. I tracked it by what my body could do. The morning I raised my right arm unassisted. The afternoon I held myself upright beside the bed for 5 seconds. The first time food went down without me choking. Small things, invisible to everyone who wasn't paying close attention. Natalie cheered for every single one. Curtis ground me through every agonizing session without mercy. Warren laid each legal stone quietly into place. And across town, Claudine and Dylan kept adding floors to the castle in their heads. They were certain the battle was over. One Tuesday before first light, Natalie rolled me through the hospital's silent corridors toward the rehabilitation room. A few nurses murmured good mornings as we passed. Curtis was already at the bars, arms folded. "This is the morning." I looked at him, that grin again. "Today you walk." Natalie glanced over. "He doesn't exactly look sold." Curtis shrugged. "Doesn't need to be. The legs are ready whether he believes it or not." They didn't feel ready from where I sat. Those parallel bars might as well have been across a canyon. Curtis locked the wheels. "Up!" One syllable. A mountain. Natalie braced herself behind me. Curtis planted his hand at my left shoulder. I pushed against everything. Nothing at first. Once more. My whole frame resisted. Then, without warning, both knees locked straight for the first time since the crash. Only a heartbeat. But I was on my feet. Natalie's laughter broke into tears simultaneously. "I always knew it was coming." Curtis held his face flat. One step. I held his gaze. He jutted his chin forward. One. My right foot scraped ahead, maybe 6 inches. Then the left dragged after it. Fire ripped through my hip. Sweat stung my eyes. The floor tilted. Curtis's hands caught my weight. "What did I tell you?" Then one more step. Then another. By the time we reached the far end of the bars, Natalie wasn't pretending anymore, tears running freely, no apology for them. "I've been around miracles," she said softly, "but never anything this pig-headed." I wanted to say she was the reason I was still fighting. Words weren't there yet. I held her hand instead. That was enough. That afternoon, Warren came in carrying a stack of folders thick enough to anchor a boat. "Good news," he announced, settling them on the table. "And news you genuinely won't believe." Natalie poured him a cup of tea. "Start with the unbelievable." Warren laughed. "Gladly." He spread open the top folder. Sandra wrapped up her work. Photos, phone records, financial trails, property listings. Page after page, tightening the net around Claudine and Dylan. 7 meetings with the realtor. 2 interior designers interviewed. And they've been talking to an auction house about the artwork in your mansion. Natalie's expression curdled. "Things that were never theirs to sell." Warren nodded. "Keep going, it worsens." Second folder. Dylan put pieces up for sale online. Antique furnishings, an antique upright piano, Pauline's crystal collection. Things Claudine had no claim to. My throat tightened. Pauline had hunted down those pieces over years, each one tied to somewhere we'd been together. Dylan had looked at them and seen a price tag. Warren slid another page toward Natalie. She frowned. "What am I holding?" "A reservation confirmation." "For what?" Warren let out a slow breath. "A funeral home." I kept my eyes on him. He didn't look away. "Claudine sat down with them yesterday." Natalie went pale. "He's getting better." "She has no idea." Warren tilted his head in my direction. "She chose the arrangements." I pressed my eyes shut. Not grief memory. A promise Pauline and I had sealed years ago. Whoever went first, the other would make sure there was music. Laughter stories, a room full of people who had actually been loved. Claudine had lined up expensive flowers, a fleet of limousines catered excess. Love was the one thing missing from the invoice. 2 days later, Sandra came back with another envelope. "Wanted to bring you this face-to-face." A digital recorder landed on the bedside table. The moving company owner talked. Warren started the playback. Dylan's voice filled the space. "Doesn't matter if he's breathing. I want every box packed the day he clears out of here." A second voice. "And what if he ends up back at the house?" Dylan didn't pause. "Not happening. Mom's already been looking at care facilities." Natalie's hand rose to cover her mouth. I fixed my gaze on the ceiling. So the design was clear. Keep me technically alive long enough to strip my name off everything. then tuck me somewhere out of sight. The house, the companies, the 40 years of work handed over without a fight. They had read patience as surrender. That same evening, Warren spread a fresh round of documents across the table. The time has come. I understood him before he finished the sentence. We spent close to an hour going through it all. My speech wasn't reliable enough yet, so a tablet and my hands did the work. First, an updated will. Claudine's name stayed in it. $1. Dylan received the same. Natalie shifted in her seat. That feels brutal. I typed back slowly. $1 makes clear I remembered them. Warren nodded. Exactly right. If either contests the will on grounds of being overlooked, he tapped the line. That dollar kills the argument. Next came the giving. Nursing scholarships. Rehabilitation funding for stroke survivors. A trust for families who couldn't sustain the cost of long-term therapy. Natalie studied the page, then looked up at me. Why all this? I found the keys and typed. Because losing hope over money shouldn't happen to anyone else. She blinked hard. Then Warren slid something unexpected across the table, a cream-colored invitation. The Whitmore Foundation Annual Gala. My mouth curved. Each October, my foundation pulled together a dinner in Nashville. Teachers, veterans, local politicians, hospital administrators, scholarship winners, business leaders. 400 people most years. Claudine had already told the world I wouldn't be attending. She planned to step up and collect an award on my behalf. Dylan had a speech ready, his introduction as the incoming foundation chairman. Warren kept his voice steady. Both confirmed attending. Sandra couldn't quite suppress her grin. Apparently they'd been rehearsing. Natalie shook her head slowly. They genuinely don't know who you are? Warren looked directly at me. Raymond, you're sure about doing this in front of everyone? Not a moment of doubt. I lifted my hand, measured, deliberate, and signed. Truth deserves witnesses. The room held its breath. Sandra was the one who finally let hers go. 22 years investigating people with money. Almost all of them want revenge. She met my eyes. You're after something different. Accountability. I nodded once, because those aren't the same thing. Revenge is personal. It feeds the wound. Accountability reaches further. If Claudine and Dylan could do this to me, others were already in their path. The week ahead brought real momentum. Short stretches with a cane. A few words that came out clean enough for my speech therapist to approve. The first word I got out wasn't help or pain or even my own name. It was no. Natalie was there when it happened. She smiled. Couldn't have picked a better one, because that single word was the spine of everything that had kept me alive these past weeks. No to surrender. No to fear. No to standing aside while they rewrote everything I'd spent my life building. 7 days to the gala. Claudine was hunting for the right dress. Dylan was smoothing out his lines. Neither one suspected they weren't rehearsing for a triumph. They were walking themselves straight into the trap which they had built for themselves. That night the last light faded past the hospital window. Warren stacked every folder, every recording, every photograph, every signed document into a single locked briefcase. He straightened up at my bedside. The smile on his face was quiet and certain. Everything is ready. I held my gaze on the window for a long moment, then turned back to face him. With a steady hand, I signed 3 words. 1 more week. The Whitmore Foundation Gala had always been my favorite night of the year. Not for the tuxedos, not for the speeches, certainly not for the attention. What I loved was knowing that every dollar raised that evening altered someone's future. Over the years, we'd funded scholarships, built playgrounds, renovated veterans' housing, stepped in for families with nowhere else to go. For 23 years, it had never been about me. This year, by necessity, it would become exactly that. The gala was held at the Lowe's Vanderbilt Hotel in downtown Nashville. Nearly 400 guests filled the ballroom. Business leaders, doctors, teachers, construction supervisors who'd worked alongside me for decades. Several city council members, a handful of local reporters. Even Dr. Okonkwo and members of the rehabilitation team had been extended invitations. Claudine had insisted on attending as my representative. She arrived in a deep burgundy designer gown, elegant, expensive, just about right for a widow. Dylan walked beside her in a tailored tuxedo, greeting anyone worth knowing with a firm handshake. I'm Raymond Whitmore's stepson. He smiled with the ease of a man who believes the deal is already done. I'll be stepping into many of his responsibilities. Several people offered congratulations, others just nodded. Those who had known me longest found the declaration oddly premature. Sandra stood near the rear of the ballroom, appearing to scroll through her phone. Warren circulated among board members with casual ease. Natalie sat quietly at a corner table in a forest green dress, looking slightly out of place among the wealthy donors. When she spotted me waiting in the service corridor, she smiled. Ready? I drew a slow breath. My cane sat firm in my right hand. I've been ready. The words still came haltingly still, rough at the edges, but they were mine. Natalie pressed a hand to my shoulder. I didn't think 3 words could make me cry. I smiled back at her. Don't start now. A soft laugh. I'll try. Inside the ballroom, Claudine climbed to the stage. Polite applause followed. She took the microphone with a well-rehearsed look of sorrow. I wish Raymond could be here tonight. A deliberate pause. As many of you know, his condition remains very serious. Her eyes dropped. Our family is grateful for your prayers. Dylan stood near the front row, nodding with the gravity of a pallbearer. Claudine pressed on. Although Raymond may never fully recover. The ballroom door swung open. Nobody caught it at first. Then a quiet gasp from somewhere near the back. Heads began turning, one after another, like a row of falling tiles. The room drained of sound. Claudine stopped mid-sentence. Dylan turned slowly. His smile fell away. I came through the door, one deliberate step at a time. My cane met the polished floor. Click. Another step. Click. Every sound rang out in the stillness. Claudine's face shed every trace of color. Raymond! Dylan looked as though the floor had shifted beneath him. No, he breathed. That's not possible. I kept moving steadily, unhurried, not for drama, but because recovery doesn't allow anything else. Natalie followed a few feet behind. Warren moved quietly toward the stage. The audience didn't stir. When I reached the front of the room, I looked at Claudine, then at Dylan. Neither one could hold my gaze. I accepted the microphone. For a moment, I just stood there. The room waited, then I spoke. The word came out strained, raspy. I took another breath. Tears filled Claudine's eyes. No one moved. No one even coughed. I heard my wife cancel my rehab. Claudine stumbled back a step. Raymond, please. I raised one finger. She stopped. I heard my stepson claim my mansion. Dylan shook his head quickly. You're twisting what happened. Warren stepped onto the stage. I'd strongly advise against interrupting. His voice reached every corner of the ballroom, particularly given what's about to be shown. A large projection screen descended behind us. Warren gave a nod to the audiovisual technician. The first video rolled. Hospital hallway security footage. Claudine entering my room. Dylan at her heels. Timestamp. Date. Every detail verified. Subtitles appeared at the bottom. Cancel his rehab. Save the money. A wave of audible shock moved through the crowd. Claudine's hand flew to her mouth. That recording is illegal. Sandra rose from her seat. No, it was lawfully obtained under hospital security procedures, following concerns about potential financial exploitation. Claudine shot a look at Dylan. He looked ready to bolt. The second recording began. The steakhouse. Wine glasses clinking. Easy laughter. The doctor said rehabilitation takes months, and we're making sure that never happens. Somewhere in the audience, a voice whispered, "Oh my God!" Then the third clip. My home office. Claudine smiling at no one. The sooner he dies, Dylan's reply, the sooner we're free. Several board members bowed their heads. One elderly woman began crying quietly. She'd known Pauline and me from the very beginning. Dylan jabbed a finger in my direction. He's setting us up. Warren lifted another folder calmly. Bank records. A second folder. Forged authorization request. More attempted transfers of corporate voting rights, Sandra added. Phone records, property listings, moving company contracts. Natalie stood beside me without a word, right where she'd stood since the first morning she decided to believe me. Claudine broke apart. She sank to her knees. Raymond, I'm sorry. I was frightened. I didn't know what else to do. I looked down at her. For a brief moment, I found myself back in the years before all of this. The vacations, quiet evenings on the porch, birthday dinners, Christmas mornings. Then the hospital room returned. Her hand wrapped around mine, her whisper. Cancel his rehab. Fear doesn't lead a person there. Greed does. Dylan shifted his angle. This all comes down to money. I shook my head slowly. No. My voice found more strength. It's about trust. He drew a breath to speak again. Before the words came, 2 detectives entered the ballroom. No uniforms, just dark suits, measured steps, professional calm. One crossed to Warren and accepted a thick evidence binder. Then the detective turned. Mr. Dylan Rafferty. Every drop of color left Dylan's face. We need to speak with you regarding allegations of fraud, attempted financial exploitation of a vulnerable adult, and document forgery. Claudine stared. What? The second detective looked her way. Mrs. Whitmore will need a word with you as well. Not a sound in the ballroom. No applause, no celebration, only truth. Unvarnished, inescapable. As the detectives guided Claudine and Dylan toward a private conference room, Dylan turned back and looked at me one final time. His eyes were full of hatred. Mine held something different. Sadness. Because in spite of everything, this was never the ending I had pictured for my family. Natalie came to stand beside me. You okay? I looked around the ballroom at the workers who had helped me raise neighborhoods from bare ground, at the scholarship students, the nurses, the veterans, the families. Then I smiled. For the first time in weeks, it wasn't an effort. It isn't over. Warren gave a slow nod. No, he smiled. But justice has finally begun. People often imagine that revenge is complete the moment the guilty are exposed. It isn't. That night at the gala was not the finish line. It was the entrance to everything that followed. The investigations, the lawsuits, the long process of healing. Justice, I came to understand, moves far slower than anger does, but it outlasts it by years. The weeks after the gala blurred into a rotation of attorneys, investigators, and physical therapy sessions. Every morning, Curtis still pushed me to go a little farther than I had the day before. You've got another lap in you. I don't? You do. I don't. He'd grin at me. You sound stronger every time you push back. For the first time in more than a month, I laughed a genuine one. Not because things had gotten easy, but because it finally felt like my life again. Natalie laughed alongside me. There he is, she said. The stubborn man everybody warned me about. Yeah. The legal process gathered speed once the evidence became public. The hospital recordings, the office surveillance, the forged documents, the attempted voting rights, transfers, the financial paper trail. Laid together, they built a case no jury could look past. Claudine was charged with financial exploitation of a vulnerable adult conspiracy to commit fraud and several related financial offenses. Dylan faced additional charges tied to forged documents and attempted theft through fraudulent representation. Neither charge covered, wishing I had died. People are free to harbor terrible thoughts. The law concerns itself with actions, and they had taken plenty. Within 2 months, Dylan also surrendered his real estate license. The licensing board reviewed the evidence independently. Integrity was the standard. He had none left to offer. One afternoon, Warren walked into my office carrying a familiar folder, except this time we weren't in a hospital. I was back at Whitmore Development, seated behind my own desk. The room was exactly as I'd left it the morning before the crash. The framed photograph of Pauline still stood beside my computer. The wooden model of the first neighborhood we'd ever built together still held its place on the shelf. Nothing in the room had changed. Everything in me had. Warren smiled, crossing to the chair across from me. You look right at home there. I've missed it. My speech was getting steadier each week. Slowly, carefully, the pauses still there, but embarrassing me less than they once had. Warren set the folder on the desk. The criminal cases are moving toward plea agreements. I nodded. I expected that. There's something else. A pause. Claudine wants to see you. The room went quiet around that sentence. I turned to the window and looked out at the construction site across the street. Workers on ladders, concrete trucks maneuvering into place. Life kept building itself. I'll think about it. 3 weeks later, I agreed. Not because she had earned another chance. Because I deserve peace. We chose a downtown counseling office, somewhere neutral, somewhere quiet. No attorneys, no cameras, no press. Claudine looked different from how I'd last seen her. Not in her face. In her spirit. That effortless confidence she used to carry had simply vanished. She sat across from me, gripping a paper cup of tea with both hands. I almost didn't come, she admitted. I almost didn't either. Quiet settled over the room. At last her eyes came up. I've run through this conversation 100 times in my head. So had I. She nodded slowly. I don't expect you to forgive me, I answered without hesitating. I already have. Something crossed her face, surprise, maybe disbelief. You have, I forgave you for me. She frowned. I don't understand. I leaned back. Holding on to hatred would have meant letting you keep your grip on my life. Tears ran down her face. I'm sorry. I know I was greedy. I know. I told myself I deserved everything that I'd earned it by being there for you. She covered her face. But somewhere along the road, I stopped seeing you as my husband. I started seeing you as something to use. Those words stung, not because they were news to me, because they were finally the truth. She reached into her bag. I brought something. She slid my wedding ring across the table. I hadn't touched mine since the gala. I looked at it sitting there, plain gold, nothing showy. I don't want anything from you. She shook her head. I just wanted you to have it back. I pushed it gently toward her side. You keep it. She looked bewildered. It belongs to your memories, too. She wept harder. Nothing remained to say. We got up. She breathed out softly. I hope someday you remember something good about me. I managed a sad smile. I already do. Then I walked out, not because forgiveness had wiped the slate clean, because nothing ever could. A month later, an unexpected letter arrived, handwritten from Dylan. It came from the rehabilitation program the court had required him to finish as part of his sentence. His opening lines stopped me. I spent my whole life chasing things that belonged to other people, because I never built anything of my own. I read it twice. Not a single excuse anywhere in it. No blame aimed at Claudine, none at me. Only regret. Warren asked if I intended to write back. I don't know. Natalie smiled. You don't have to decide today. She was right. Some wounds close fast. Others need more time. 6 months after leaving the hospital, I made the biggest decision of my life. I sold the mansion. Everyone assumed it was the betrayal, that the walls held too much of it. They had it backwards. That house stood for everything I'd achieved. But what I'd achieved no longer required 4 stories, 9 fireplaces, or a waterfront address. Home wasn't the structure. Home was who filled it. I bought a modest lakeside place less than 20 minutes away. 4 bedrooms, a small dock, a wide front porch where I could watch the sun come up with a cup of tea. It felt like peace. Natalie visited often. Curtis stopped by weekends to keep me honest about exercising. Warren and I took up fishing again. For the first time in years, my calendar wasn't full, my heart was. The Whitmore Foundation shifted too. Rather than pushing luxury housing projects, we launched 2 new programs. One offered rehabilitation grants for stroke and accident survivors, whose insurance ran out before their recovery did. The other created scholarships for nursing students devoted to genuine patient care. At the dedication ceremony, I asked Natalie to come up beside me. She looked stricken. I hate microphones. I laughed. You'll survive. She stepped forward anyway. The audience applauded as I handed her a plaque. It read, Natalie Osgood, Compassionate Care Scholarship. She covered her mouth. You named it after me. You showed me that healing begins when somebody chooses to believe in you. Not a dry eye in that room, certainly not mine. People still ask whether I regret exposing Claudine and Dylan. My answer catches them off guard. No. I regret that they handed me a reason to, because revenge was never what I was after. The accident stole my voice for a time, but it handed me something worth far more. The ability to see people for exactly who they were. Some walked away. Some held their ground beside me. That distinction changed everything. If one lesson survives all of this, it's this. That is where the story lands. Not with a shout, but with the quiet weight of truth, finally finding the room it deserved. Looking back, I understand now what that season cost me. Not just the months in that hospital bed or the years of trust I had to grieve, but the version of myself who believed loyalty was guaranteed by love. I believe God used that stillness, that paralysis, to strip away every distraction until all I had left was clarity. What I saw from that bed, who stayed, who schemed, who simply disappeared, taught me more about people than 3 decades of boardrooms ever had. If this story leaves you with anything, let it be these. When someone shows you who they are through their private words, believe them not the face they wear in public. Silence is not the same as surrender. Sometimes the most powerful move is to wait, watch, and prepare. If you are ever betrayed by someone close, resist the pull toward revenge. Build toward truth. Instead, it lands harder and it lasts longer. And never underestimate what one steady person standing beside you can change. Natalie was one person. Warren was one person. That was enough. If this story stirred something in you, I would love to read your thoughts in the comments. Whatever it brought up, whatever you felt. Share it with someone who might need to hear it today. And if you haven't already subscribed to True Revenge Stories, there are more of these waiting for you. Thank you for sitting with me through this one. Take good care of yourself. Until next time.